You know what's wild? With the release of Metallica's Poor Remastered Me, everyone's rightfully talking about the riffs and demos of the Load songs, and hearing those is awesome, but the coolest thing hidden in the 18 minutes of Load release, for me, is the gloriously chaotic and never before properly heard covers performed by Metallica on that one night when Metallica stopped being Metallica and became the Lemmys.
That is unbelievable.
So today, let's talk about those hidden gems of the latest Load Remaster and how they came to be. Here you go. Right, so before we get to the actual music, let's rewind to the night that made it all possible. Lemmy Kilmister's 50th birthday bash at Whiskey A Go Go in Los Angeles on December 14th, 1995. And as many of us can imagine, an occasion like this wasn't really just some regular cake-cutting backstage situation. It was a full-blown Hollywood rock circus. And in the very heart of that chaos were nobody else but Lemmy's biggest fans, the boys from Metallica, who for that one night and one night only decided to form a new band titled The Lemmys.
They named themselves the Lemmys that night.
Please welcome the Lemmy!
But the funniest thing is that according to Todd Singerman, Motorhead's manager, who's thrown that party for Lemmy, no one really knew what Metallica were up to, and he actually assumed that after accepting an invitation for Lemmy's birthday bash, Metallica would, simply show up, say a toast to Lemmy, and maybe hang out at a party for a couple of hours. The most. Just like a regular celebrity thing. And no one actually realized that in order to greet their rock idol, Metallica would go all in that night. And so every single one of them was dressed head to toe like Lemmy himself. Long black wigs, drawn-on mustaches, sleeveless black shirts, and even fake tattoos, just like the ones Lemmy had. Which, by the way, according to Lemmy, who spoke about that night afterwards, they all drew on a wrong arm. Each and every one of them. But nevertheless, it was in that attire that the newly formed The Lemmys hit the stage to pay the ultimate tribute to the man without whom Metallica would never have existed as a band, performing 6 covers on Motorhead's iconic early songs. The setlist that night included the songs Overkill, Damage Case, Stone Dead Forever, Too Late, The Chase is Better Than the Catch, and We Are the Road Crew, of which we'll talk in a moment because I actually believe that this one is the biggest hidden gem of them all in this particular release. Yeah. And now, most Metallica fans, of course, do know that the 4 of those being Overkill, Damage Case, Stone Dead Forever, and Too Late, were later on released by Metallica themselves. First as a B-side to Hero of the Day single, and later on once again on their 1998 Garage Incorporated album. But unfortunately, the other 2 songs simply vanished and were only known to Metallica fans from a bootleg recorded that night at Whiskey A Go Go. Until last week. And so now, with the release of Poor Remastered Me, over 1800 minutes of load, we also finally get the proper remastered releases of The Chase is Better Than the Catch and We Are the Road Crew, which might actually be one of the strangest recordings Metallica have ever done in their entire career. But let's go through them in order. In case you guys didn't know, the 4 Motorhead covers Metallica did release before were not actually recorded the night of the party, but rather a night before that, during a closed rehearsal Metallica had specifically for Lemmy's bash. And thanks to Metallica's incredible habit of recording pretty much everything they do, all the time, even if they're just rehearsing for a party. And so when it comes to The Chase is Better Than the Catch and We Are the Road Crew, those were recorded in exactly the same manner. And you can of course hear that by simply comparing the bootleg recording of that show with the version we got last week. Yet in honesty, specifically when it comes to the chase is better than catch, because We Are the Road Crew is a slightly different beast, of which we'll talk in a moment, but I honestly have no idea why the flip Metallica decided to not record it in a studio properly and not release it together with the other 4 tracks they did on Garage Incorporated. As at least to me, that song fits the Metallica sound, and especially the Metallica sound the band propagated in the mid-90s extremely well. In addition to the overall sound, and despite the whole roughness of a regular studio rehearsal, we can hear that it is actually one of the early Motorhead songs that fits James's voice quite well. And despite it being an iconic Motorhead song, Metallica was able to actually make it sound like a truly Metallica song. And therefore, in my opinion, if recorded properly, I actually think that it would have fit quite well on their 1998 release. And then there's We Are the Road Crew, which, by the way, is one of my absolute favorite songs of the Ace of Spades album, and I'm extremely happy to finally be getting a proper remastered and a studio version of it played by Metallica. And especially since it is a very unique recording done by this band. As here's the thing, most of Metallica fans are actually quite used to seeing the video clips of Jason Newsted performing vocal parts for Metallica songs. You know, we got some pretty awesome recordings of Seek and Destroy, Creep in Death, and a bunch of other ones Jason did instead of James Hetfield throughout the years. But I think that this release of We Are the Road Crew cover might actually be the very first one, proper studio recording, released by Metallica with Jason on vocals instead of James Hetfield. At least I'm completely banking out and cannot really think of any other one released by this band. And by the way, if I'm wrong about this, please let us know in the comments. I'm actually really curious to find out. But nevertheless, according to Jason, he sang We Are the Road Crew in his old bands ever since Ace of Spades came out. And therefore it was simply a no-brainer for Metallica to put Jason on vocals for this song. Especially given the fact that Jason's raspy voice actually echoes the one of Lemmy and fits this song extremely well. And by the way, the coolest thing happened during the actual performance of We Are the Road Crew, as it was the song on which Lemmy himself had joined Metallica, or sorry, the Lemmys, up on stage. And before the start of the song, Lemmy actually came to Jason and told him to not mess it up. And afterwards continued whispering wrong lyrics into his ear during the entire performance.
And he comes up and rubs the warts right on my face, right? And talks in my ear and he goes, oh, don't mess it up, mate. You're good. Don't mess it up, mate. And he kept chirping in my ear like, the words are what? Don't forget, the words are what? You know, and this kind of, and I'm trying my best. I knew I had it memorized my prize for, you know, another town, another platoon. Get on with it, fucker!
But nevertheless, at least to me, these releases are the pieces of amazing heavy metal history, and it is so incredible that we finally get to experience them in a proper way, and not only in the form of bootlegs, which have been circulating around the Metallica fan base before that. And you know, I'm one of those people who actually enjoys and always tries to defend the Load and Reload era, and hearing the demo riffs of the songs which eventually made it on Load is simply incredible. But if we are being very honest, it is these covers that I am personally most excited about, and the ones I've been listening to pretty much on repeat since the release of Poor Remastered Me. But nevertheless, what do you guys personally think about those, and would you like me to release a special video comparing the demo riffs of Load with the actual songs which later on made it on the album, and discuss those in details, just like we did with Iron Maiden's and Judas Priest's studio albums before that? Please let us know in the comments. As always, thank you so much for watching this short video, guys, and we will prevail. Slava Ukraini!